Greetings. Guten Tag. Talafalava. Bonjour, bonjour. This is Dr. Snow Brown from New Zealand. Speaking to you all, well, let's just say, and catching up with my Snooker Club flock. Snow sheep, snow shepherds, Knights and Chiefs, 150 Days War Program, Precious Munchkins, special lots. So what am I preaching about today or this morning? I'm going to preach about the Apartheid Treaty Partnership that is still posing a detriment and is still causing and wreaking havoc for me inside my kingdom, inside the Crystal Kingdom Church TV Limited YouTube channel. As you can see, some of the postings, that's correct. One recently in regards to Mr. Tom Haviland or Mr. Mountaintop, that's correct, about the issue of his indiscretions or his own personal private affairs. That became an illustration for me. That's only because I am being ministered to. As I'm standing before you all, I am actually being ministered to by Gadi Islam Lama, Archangel Warren, my Holy Ghost family, and even the precious Holy Spirit of God. And just overnight, I did read, while I carried out a mini worship yesterday, near midnight, that's correct. I asked my angels to please minister to me by the three scriptures that I read out aloud. That was Psalm 1, Psalm 23, and Psalm 91. So this preaching that I'm about to engage with seriously, especially the Apartheid Treaty Partnership in this country, and especially my evil rallies, my rallies that are involved, involved in the so-called the harming of me or the conspiracy to subject me to tortures and cruelties, tyranny, and also for them to have be used like a commodity chattel, for them to apply their criminal dictatorships and even the treaty partnership harmful protocols that come from the police intelligence unit. You know, the hacking that's really serious, that under your Crimes Act 1961 is not acceptable, or it's deemed to be a criminal, an act of that could result in arrest, you being arrested, then it is a criminal offense to hack, to access people's so-called computer or digital devices unlawfully here in your country. In fact, it's forbidden and it's not allowed under your laws. Now, the way I see it, the hacking needs to stop. But even with a lot of the warnings, I don't know what's not stopping what is preventing, or what is actually aiding and abetting the hackings to continue on. I'm not sure right now what exactly are you, Kiwis, and I'm talking about the police intelligence unit, the criminals inside this building, my evil rallies, what exactly are you trying to aim at with a serious hacking into my, intellectual property, my private YouTube channel? Why do you need to do that when it's against the law under the Crimes Act 1961? And it also breaches the Harassment Act 1997 because it amounts to criminal stalkings and harassing of this meek noble. So I'm guessing that you must be aiming at something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be engaging in this serious criminal offense. That's correct. New Zealand, I've lived here for 42 years. I'm part coconut. I was born in the islands. And I can still, having lived here for 42 years, I can still speak fluently the Samoan language. Sadly, I have given up. on my people. That's correct. And especially the Samoan way of doing things. And I have just gone with the Pākehā way of doing things. That's correct. But today I'm going to speak in the Samoan language, just to allow guardian angels of love, whatever, because I'm being ministered to now, right now, by the angels. So whatever guardian angels of love wants to relay or wants to say, preach to the Samoan community, most of the coconuts in this country, or even in Australia, or even in America, around the globe, I'm going to give guardian angels of love that opportunity to speak to the Samoan communities in the Samoan language, not the Māori language, because I'm not Māori. I'm part coconut and I'm part European. And I actually honestly believe that I am European. I'm a Pākehā. Palangi. With an attitude, that's correct. But one that was cultivated, at these muddy waters in your country, that's correct. I didn't become this way overnight with the so-called, waving of a wand, like that wizard, abracadabra, This took 42 years, this took a lifetime for me to arrive at this destination and even to use and apply my ministry, my kingdom, my own knighthood inside my own kingdom, inside my own baby brown monarch, and inside my own private intellectual property. And the families that have become part of my so-called intellectual property, the private YouTube channel, I appreciate is the fact that they align. They're in agreement with my heart condition and heart condition, the soul of my kingdom. So that is why they can come in, and they have become part of the Snowcare Club flock. There are people all around the globe on this planet that have become part of my kingdom. They have become part of the Snowcare Club flock. That is correct. And I am the head, the representative of the sovereign head that governs this intellectual property. Now, I don't know what's happened, but it seems like the government of New Zealand, in conspiracy with the people of Aotearoa, the Maoris of this country, the indigenous people of this country, that signed the treaty document with a sovereign head, Queen Victoria of England. I think that there is now a serious conspiracy going on between the treaty people, the apartheid treaty in this country. You're trying to take me out by these criminals inside this building. You have been studying me throughout the 11 years of tenancy here. The elites that are associates of these criminals inside this building and are part of the treaty, partnership of your people, have become really, have become compulsive, have an obsession, and have become compulsive in your unlawful, in your lawlessness that amounts to criminal dictatorships and harmful protocols that have been applied to my tenancy here. Now, I didn't ask for all these ears and eyes, to tune in on my private channel, meaning my privacy here at this address. No. You came here with an intention. You wanted to study a full royal. My status is very important. That's great. You didn't come here so that you can pretend that you are serious about tenancy. No. This setup was created for the benefit of the people of Aotearoa, and especially the treaty, the apartheid treaty people, and for the benefit also of my evil rallies that were part of your political, this political alliance that's been built, is founded on anarchy, tyranny, and founded even on tortures and cruelties, and founded on criminal organizations, where you apply your sovereignty. That's correct. So you came here with the intention of wanting to study me because I am a noble, I'm meek, I'm a full royal. That's correct. I am somebody that is more interesting and more unique than out of all the citizens in this country. Considering, if you take into consideration my intellectual property, what I have been creating in secret and in private, you wanted to learn and absorb as much knowledge as you could get about how I conduct my affairs as a meek royal. And once you thought that you had, obtained all the information that you could possibly do and all the knowledge that you stole without my consent and authorization, you then felt the need to start applying your wicked treaty of partnership, that amounts to the Police Intelligence Unit and these criminals' so-called harmful protocols. That's when you started your experimentations and exploitations. But you see, the exploitations of me and the stealing from me had already started long before I came here for tenancy for the last 11 years. So the people of Aotearoa, why have you conspired with the government of New Zealand and other, governmental departments and even the system and even officials to have me controlled and oppressed, marginalized, and even dictated to on the level of people that are incorrigible, people that amount to slaves and sex slaves in your country? Why have you done this evil deed, this evil crime, where my rallies think it's their right to apply their dictatorships, their so-called savagery, brutality, these harmful dictatorships and harmful protocols? This is part of the treaty, the apartheid treaty partnership. It was part of your so-called sovereignty, the indigenous sovereignty. Now, why would you want to apply it to me? You got over 800,000 people, your own people in this country, that you should have an interest in and a compulsory obsession to study. But instead, you've taken the liberty to try and single me out. That's correct. Learn as much as you like. You're wanting to absorb everything like a sponge. Steal. Your people are sick with pedophilia, erotomania, incest, and the majority of your people, I would say about 70 to 80%, are part of the criminal organizations, part of the so-called underbelly, evil empire in this country. And yet you want to steal my stuff. Remember, my stuff are valuable. Anything I create has value, but it's on the level of a noble. So my stuff are pure and of royalty status. So your people, that's correct, who sign a treaty with the white man in this country, you have become so greedy to the point that you get millions and billions from the government of New Zealand. But you see, you wanted to steal from me. Steal whatever I produce, whatever that my family, my evil rallies had used me, that's correct, this meek noble, to empower your people that should be going to, they should be completing secondary school, primary schools, intermediate. They should be going to university, polytechnics to study. But instead, you came to this address, you moved here, the setup. And you came here with the intention to study me. So now it's like I'm an open book to all your people on this country. Do you understand how that is disgusting and rude? How that should not happen? It's just like the attitude that your people have when it comes to sex. It's like it's across the border. It's like you don't care whether that man or woman belongs to somebody else, or those children belong to somebody else. You will take advantage of them to satisfy your addictions and even your treaty partnership, your apartheid treaty partnership, the Pākehās in this country are so cunning and so devious. They have actually used your people to satisfy their sex addictions, which might come in the form of they're sick with pedophilia, sick with erotomania, sick with incest, and even zoophilia. So it's just so convenient that the English, the white man in this country, would use your people, and you're quite happy to have that arrangement where you would provide sex across the border to satisfy your treaty partnership, especially the white man. Remember, the majority, this is what I've discovered living here among these sick souls inside this address. They are sick with pedophilia, erotomania, and especially incest, and possibly even, zoophilia. The government knows the state of affairs, the state of mental disorder, mental sickness that these criminals have, or these sick souls have got inside this address. But they didn't care of what could possibly happen, putting them among a royal. I'm a full royal. I'm of royalty. That's great. I don't align with these people, and I'm not in agreement with them. I have a mental illness. It's called depression. I do not have any mental disorders like pedophilia, erotomania, not even incest. That is the reason why I left and disowned myself from the Treviranus family, from the Treviranus family tree, as well as from my immediate family. It was that sickness, because if you are sick with incest, it generally leads to pedophilia and erotomania and even zoophilia. That's correct. And so your people are so selfish with the way that you are taking advantage of this apartheid treaty partnership you got going. This good thing, that's great, where your people are not only married and in partnerships, but then you want to enjoy sex outside the marriage arrangement. You want to violate and breach lie to everybody, mislead everybody in thinking that you're such a decent, a happy couple. Well, of course you would be happy if you're having sex with almost the whole region and the whole country, with the elites, with the police intelligence unit, with the people in criminal organizations, with people in social clubs everywhere. This is what I've discovered about your people, why you prospered, and why your people thrived in this country. It was the apartheid treaty partnership, where your people provided the sex services. They served the needs and cater to the needs of the majority of the Pākehā in this country that are sick with pedophilia, sick with erotomania, incest, zoophilia, you name it. So the so-called Pākehā, I'm sorry, but you guys are not that innocent, and you're not quite off the hook yet. That's correct. Not at all. Not if you're actually the ones that aid and abet and cover up the crimes that are committed deliberately to satisfy your treaty partnership, and even to satisfy the strong empire. I mean, this partnership that you built. I'll tell you right now, there are some dangers, some real dangers with your so-called partnership, and what it has produced, and what it has caused, and what is likely to come in the future. That's great. In the next 10 years, this is what my guardian angel and my angels can foresee into the future. Now, of course, a lot of you here in this country, you know what happened in the past, and you know what happened now, and you probably do know what's going to take place in the future, but you're not that intuitive and smart. These angels, they know what's coming in the next 10 years. And what I've been told is the people that are on the benefits, that are receiving the benefits, their so-called New Zealand citizen entitlements, benefits and pensions, the pensioners and the beneficiaries in this country, in 10 years' time, and possibly even 15 years, but in 10 years' time, that might all disappear. Because the government is not going to tell you that. The truth is, they can't afford anymore to continue with the benefits and the pensioners and the pensions. That's correct. They can't afford to. So in 10 years' time, everybody will possibly have to either leave this country, or they will have to accept whatever the government is going to give you, which is they're probably going to ration everything. And I mean ration, that includes water, your food, that's correct. Because so many people have been laid off. There's no more jobs. So people will have to go on the benefit or the pension. There is no more jobs in this country. There is no more produce. There's not enough. There's a shortage now of food and water. Water is drying up quickly. And it's because the people of Aotearoa, in terms of the treaty partnership, when they started to increase in numbers their population and increase in funding, they took say around about 80% of the funding that was supposed to provide, that was supposed to go to the benefits and the beneficiaries, and it was also supposed to cover everybody else's salaries and wages. What was found was that even the employers couldn't afford to pay their staff their worth. That's correct. Because they were short-staffed, or they just didn't have the money to be able to pay them what they're worth. So they would have to go to Australia to enjoy the privilege of being paid your worth, meaning your qualifications are recognized. The employers in Australia, they pay you get paid the full amount that you're entitled to. In this country, suddenly criminal organizations dominated the system. And this included the dictatorships. They started having sex with the elites. Now, you know what happens when criminals from criminal organizations, there's over 70 of them, start having sex with powerful elites who are ministers and are members of the crown. They're supposed to run the government. Well, there's going to be restructuring. There is going to be so many changes all of a sudden. And this is what's happening, what's been happening. The Metlink people, the Transrail, there's been so many of them taking redundant packages. There's so many of them that have reduced. Do you see how the employers say, I'm sorry, you either take the redundancy, or you're going to have to work for the same job, but your salary is going to be less than usual. Now, can you see what I'm getting at? It's because the criminals took over control of this country, of your country. Your government allowed them to do that. Now they dictate to everybody else in the system, whether it be your salary, your wages, what you're entitled to, or and there was so many denying of suddenly people's privileges. And those people didn't deserve that kind of treatment, but it was because the people of Aotearoa got too greedy. You got too greedy and got so selfish that you wanted to hog everything else in this country. So now you were in control of basically anything. You could control people's access to the Pākehās to have sex with. You could control the access of anything now. And that's why in the future, the benefits and the pensions, the government didn't have any more money to pay, to cover, to continue on, giving out your pensions, paying your pensions and your benefits, because suddenly the government in other countries said, you know what, you've been taking so much loans, but you've never been able to repay it all back. You've only, say, paid back 25% or 30%. Now, we can't allow you to do that anymore because our citizens, we need to survive and we need to take care of them. Even they are lining up in free foods. in the food bank. That's great. This is why I'm grateful, but I no longer need to depend on that. That's great. I have to be smarter with what money that the government gives me. Meaning, I have to be not only much more resourceful, but I've got to be able to think outside. And you know what? The only reason why I'm able to survive with what little money that the government gives me is these angels. It's this angel, this guardian angel, something, and the other spirit creatures. But the prayers help. And God, you know, people deserve to be helped if you help yourself. People that are hanging around, listening into people's private conversations, hoping for a gold nugget or some kind of miracle for you to happen. You know what? That's not the way to do it. Please go and get a job or go and create something in order for you to survive, to live. That's great. But don't use people like myself and the rest of other, you know, smart people, really intelligent people that have ideas for you in order to spring off, or for you to get ahead. That's laziness. That's great. Where you're having sex with other people, especially say you have sex with somebody and you want to take advantage of me. So you run along to the police intelligence unit and you say, I want X amount of this. I need this and this. Can I have that? Yeah, you'll need to have sex and then dictate to that, madam, and then we'll pay you what you need in order to survive. This is why, in the future, the angels are saying, if this country ever wants to stop that from happening, where there will be no more benefits, no more pensions, people will be laid off, there will be rations instead. You want to avoid all of that? What does your government need to do? Well, you'll need to revoke the treaty document. You need to make a sacrifice in order for everybody to survive and in order for everybody to be happy. But that's not likely to happen because your treaty partnership and your sex addiction and sex, you know, partnership is more important. That's great. Than the happiness for everybody else. Let alone, you know, that's great. Your economy, you won't be able to support your economy because there aren't enough jobs. You've denied so many stuff. You have gotten, in fact, you got carried away with your treaty partnership, apartheid treaty partnership. You forgot what it was like to be poor and what it was like to line up at the dole, you know. That's great. But you've also forgotten that, you know, there's got to be a balance somewhere. There is no more balance. The scales are tipping over. And I mean, tipped off over completely. And it's just so much apathy. And people are selfish, especially the treaty people. That's great. And not only that, you become too greedy, and so greedy. Now you want to convert everybody. What is left? The righteousness of God and the mercy of God, but the righteousness of God and the grace of God. What's left in this country that is good? You want to convert all of that to your, you know, sex slaves or slaves or something that is evil, tainted, and unsanctified and unholy. You ain't got no right to do that. You need to learn to survive on your own terms, on your own turf. That's correct. Use what gifts and talents that the gods gave you, let alone what your family, your iwis and hapus had given you in order for you to survive and thrive. You cannot go on like this, depending on the Pākehā that you're having sex with, that the Christians that are faithful and are righteous are not. We're not doing that. We're not able to take advantage of anything that comes our way. That's great. But that's what your people are able to do because of the sex protocol. The Victoria University thinks that they suddenly got a right to dictate to my intellectual property. Hey, you know what? That's why I came to your university, so that I will be able to gain a degree of some sort, a qualification, a piece of paper, so that in the future I will be able to help myself in my family. Create a livelihood. That's great. And what are you doing? They turn around and take advantage of my intellectual property too. You know, it's not right to do that. So what would be the case? Your rallies, that by the way, who deserve to go a lifetime in prison, jailbird, and even they deserve the death penalty right now for taking advantage of you. That's correct. In order for them to survive, but they got greedy. They don't need all of that. They do not need to control and oppress you and deny you your privileges as a New Zealand citizen and even as a qualified woman. That's great. I'm overqualified. Then a lot of those men in the Cozy Club, and of course there would be jealousy over my intellectual property is so unique. That's great. But you don't need to deny me a donation so that you can have high self-esteem, so that you can what? Can feel good. Well, I mean, Christians, we need to pray. That's how we transform our so-called thinking, but help ourselves. So as Jesus said, we need to transform from the inside outward. That's correct. Not outward, inward. So the changes, transformation, and the blessing and the good luck, it starts internally. It starts from what's inside you. And then what you reflect on the outside. That's great. And then everything follows. But even the Havilands, I'm thinking, come on now. Times are hard, that's correct. But you got to take advantage of me. So I'm guessing which one of you Havilands had sex with my evil rallies or their associates. They had me dealt to, that's correct. So you obviously received money or some sexual favor from the elites. You know what? And I'm guessing that you took whatever excuses, whatever the elites told you, you believed whatever lie they told you. That's correct. You know what? This is why this country is so good at lying. That's correct. And I'm thinking, and the irony is, what these criminal organizations have been doing all these years, they have not only been stealing on behalf of their government, but they've been taking advantage on behalf of their government. And even teaching people lessons a lot, all the time, on behalf of their government. The government of New Zealand is not a good government at all. That's correct. Look what I've had to do. I've been praying the prayers. And each time, now it's changed to America. My asylum seeker applications, that's correct. The angels have said, you know what? Right about now, it's not safe for you to go back to Germany. It's because of these criminals inside this building, but it's because of what your evil rallies have planted in this country through the elites and what they've planted inside the elites. Right? So that's why it's not safe for me to go back to Germany anymore, because they've changed the cards. They have done something that's correct. So I wouldn't be surprised if, say, my cousin, who's a whore, and a straight up bitch, B-I-T-C-H, that's correct, who really deserves a big fucking hiding, that's correct, for being such a stinky whore, that's correct, a disgusting thing. I wouldn't be surprised if she had sex with German Pakas from Germany to satisfy in order to change the cards, that's correct. She is so dangerous and so evil that she should be put on lockdown. That's great. Same with her mother, who are whores. They are so dangerous, Mr. and Mrs. Yoke. They're a real danger, a real detriment, and a danger and a jeopardy. That's correct. And health and safety to my safety, because they're having sex with the most powerful elites, and are controlling and denying what is rightfully mine, and they shouldn't be doing this. I don't know who they're doing it for. Are they doing it on behalf of the people of Aotearoa, or let alone the Māori Queen? Are they doing it on behalf of the so-called the KKK? It sounds like it might be. Or on behalf of the criminal organizations. or on behalf of those that are running the criminal organizations and hooked up with the police intelligence unit. You don't need to go there. You guys have no right to do this, let alone to behave that way. What exactly have I done to any of you? Why do you need to deny me my privileges? That's great. The enjoyment. I'm a full royal. I'm a royalty. You dare. That's great. How dare? They use you like a commodity and a chattel for them to, to get ahead. Ha ha ha. I just had sex with somebody from a Pākehā and I just denied you your privilege. Oh, you won't be able to get blah, blah, blah. That's great. You know what? If that's the case, would you like the Germans to storm the stormtroopers, the Germans to take you out with a bullet? Because you deserve that. You don't need to behave that way. That's correct. It's no wonder evil people prosper in this country. The scripture says, evildoers never prosper. They ought not to prosper. But the way that the treaty partnership has been set up in this country, and the way that the government has spoiled them rotten, they seem to just get whatever they want. They are thriving and prospering, but they are evil. That's correct. And people have been forced without a choice as well. Even private companies and people that have got their businesses in this country to accommodate, to adopt, to apply to allow their criminal dictatorships. And all because they've had sex with the elites. Yeah, but there is too many criminals. It's no wonder the population is controlled. 5 million. Have you got rid of the treaty partnership, the treaty document, and got rid of that partnership, and got rid of these criminal organizations, normal criminal organizations? I tell you what would happen. There would be more jobs in this country. There will be more people coming to this country wanting to do business or whatnot. That's great. People would be paid, their full entitlements. Instead of, Jim slimming it down. Like, oh, we need to ration it because, the organization or the department can't afford it anymore. We've had to lay off people because it's simply, we just don't have the money. And yet, the funniest thing is they wanted to hire people, but you just laid people off. So it's confusing. On the one hand, you say, oh, well, we've had to lay off this number of people because the department can't afford it. And yet you employ even more people, probably with a less, but with a reduced pay by the sounds of things. Why do people in this country have to sacrifice and compromise so much of their entitlements and happiness so that the criminals can be on top of everything, can control this entire country and always have sex with the elites and dominate the rest of the country and even run this country down to the ground? Remember New Zealand? This was your choice. That was your choice. Nobody is to blame for the increase, for the numbers of criminal organizations. Nobody is to blame that they are sick with pedophilia, erotomania, especially erotomania and pedophilia and incest. Who's to blame for all of that? Well, I think that when you pay them millions to encourage them to have sex with the likes of satisfy the military community, and then satisfy the foreigners community, and then satisfy the elites, you're bound to create really evil citizens, ones that are very sick, with pedophilia and other types of disgusting harms. The very few that are left that are righteous. Hey, we don't need criminals to be, to stalk us, let alone the entire nation, in the form of the people of Aotearoa stalking us on our digital devices that we bought outrightly. You do not need to know what I buy from Temu. You do not need to open my packages. Hell no, you go and open your own packages that you have spent money for. Right. You want to eat? Go and cook. Just take a look at those Chinese people. They're so resourceful with what money the government gives them or what wealth they have, what little they got. They just seem to know how to survive this grid without depending on the Pākehā all the time. But it's the kind of deviousness where you're having sex with them to get whatever you want. And the Pākehā is so cunning and even more despicable by applying such a protocol where they're encouraging the Maoris, you know what, you can get anything from us as long as you satisfy us, satisfy our sexual needs. And of course, and the government is so stupid. But this is not the way to run this country down, to the mud. The stinky swamp. That's great. In fact, New Zealand could possibly even be just like Australia if you got rid of the treaty partnership, the treaty document, and the criminals, there's too many criminals, and you got rid of, that's great. I'm looking forward to leaving your country. I'm not going to stay put in this country so that, so that the people of Aotearoa in this country that seem to have a compulsive obsession can continue on, studying Dr. Snowbrown and knowing about what Dr. Snowbrown is getting up to. Oh, let's just stalk her now. That's correct. Oh, let's just hack into her so-called YouTube channel. I'm not going to hang around to have a bunch of psychos and sickos, doing stuff to me in secret and wreaking havoc in my life, evading my privacy. That's correct. We do not need people. Your people are sick. But you don't need to behave that way. There's something not right about your country and the way you do things. That's correct. That you suddenly, so what would happen if you know too much about somebody's, private affairs? You would disrespect them all the time. That's correct. Because, I know what they're like. I know how they live. And because I know so much about you, you're nothing to me now. That's great. Because I know all there is to know about you. And this is the problem, and this is the problem. Well, in my case, because I seem to be the one everybody knew my business. Before I even walk out this correct, it's like, oh my gosh, they already know. But why are you perverting this correct? Why are you listening into my private conversations? Hey, I'm royal. We don't align. That's correct. You should go and listen to your people. People that are on the same sort of educational level, social class level. That's correct. You don't need to know what I do and let alone dictate to me inside my own YouTube channel. You're committing so many crimes, but why are you doing that? So what is the purpose of you, prospering and thriving because you're breaking all the laws so that you can gain access? Hey, the Samoans don't need access to me, thank you very much. That's great. You people need to go and deal with your own kind. That's great. The same with the Maoris. They don't need access to me. That's great. It's silly. You see how they have access to people's private conversations? Who gave you that right? That fundamental right that people do not need to listen into your private conversation. It's no wonder they end up dead. It's no wonder they end up being harmed. It's no wonder they end up being laid from their jobs and even being denied their right to be paid the full wages. That's correct. It's no wonder. People, I have never heard of an indigenous race who spies on people, pervert on people, who listen in on their private conversations. It's almost like an FBI, that's great. The kind of invasion of privacy an intrusion that you're imposing and impinging on people's happiness, their people's right to be protected from intrusion and wanting to know about their so-called privacy. You ain't got no right to do that. Your people are sick, so the way I'm seeing it, every time you satisfy a Pākehā, you're going to get that privilege where you can gain access to somebody's private conversations. But what if you are a sick person? What if you are sick, a serial rapist and a serial pervert and a pedophile, and the government of New Zealand gives you that privilege? Oh my God, that's great. That is the last thing that anybody would want to give people like that. Because the next thing they want to do is, rape them, harm them. New Zealand, you need to do something. There's something terribly wrong about your country. The way you run your country, that's great. It's evil, is evil. It's so evil. Here's how it is. Gani Esalama, you ready to speak in Samoan language? Yes, of course. Salawalava. Ele mamalu. Malipa ia lasi. Ya o tō uba. Tangata Samoa. Tangata Samoa na whanau nei New Zealand, ma tangata Samoa no mai Samoa. Ia, tō whaalongo. Whaalongo mai. Wa umana tau I loa winga o pāpā langi I te tono le atunu nei. E ese le mata ngā. Whalongo mai fo I la ia. Wa uma na wha mata ngā soo. E le maa long nu sila. E le criminal organisation lea ma fo I nei. Ma le ainga alo tama. Wa uma ona fa'a maina, fa'a leanga ina. That's great. Talu ai le mea lea. O le ola le taupulea, o le ola le taupulea. O le ola, nau, ma nao. Ma le ola, o le fia tosoteine. O le ola moikolo. O le ola o le mai le maka I whale. O le ola o le ngaoi. O winga mata ngala ia. Wa tiri ai. Male pa mutu, so ai male pa mutu, male pa sasai. O isi mai ia. Wa whaina ai. Ia nai tangata, Gerisiano, I toa tunu nei. E maka o kia lava le whaasauanga. Ma le pule anga whaasauanga. E sau mai. I the Police Intelligence Unit. E sau mai. I whai ai ngā wa kaya whai ai, kaya muli, o ka ngaka I ngai usila, ngā wa mamai, e mamai I pedophilia. E mamai I le erythemania. Ko e mamai I le incest. Maka I whale. O le mai o le maka I whale. A le pedophilia o le mai lea. Biko I siri ngā leanga. A wa wha leanga ina ai, I whanau witi. That's great. But never mind, because it looks like the Pākehā, the white man in this country, le pālangi, ma mauli ia. E māsangi, o le māsani lea. O winga matanga ia, e māsani e o lato tangata, wa e leo ni tangata Gerisiano. Lau te le e ola, nau, I le alii. Lau te le tatalo, e le o eise ola, e le se ngangana, se anganga loto lofa atu. Not only for their own, lato whanawiti, malato tina, malato tuangane, matama, but even for other people. That's correct. So, o le ala le mea le e manga iaile, le whaasawanga lea, le pule anga whaasawanga. Le sau I le apartheid treaty partnership. Ngā le wha leanga lava, le mea lea o ke wa ai aku, ma le wha maka ngā. Me se lava lo kangaka, ma lo ainga. Wa le ai se a whainge. Se maa whanga. Ma se so o kanga, wha ainga, ya kiao, malo ainga. Motusia. Langa foi eleanga kangaka ia e fai le malo ngusila. Leanga le ko pule anga fa sawa. Ele ai se anga fa pea. E faia mea mo kangaka, a kokoa, mo kangaka uma. Not just for the Maoris and the Pakeas that were born in this country. E esele selfish. O winga o leo mauli leo ke vai aku iai. E gele mea e manga o ngao. A manga o ngao mauli. I mea e fai e Samoa. I lea ku unge. Wai sili aku me fai e kangaka kewsiango. Ai meise lava kangaka vam a inga kupu. E sili aku me fai e la kou. So, wai loa la el pālangi. Ngā, wai loa fo e le mauli. A maa ngaia me e fai e lo kangaka. My hands are blessed. And even my mouthpiece and everything else. Ngola ia suela wala. Pio. Kai peo mele fai e lo kasana. Le pa mukule I for Davis Crescent. Now, amanga I deny my privileges as a royal, as a full royal, and even as a natural pastor. Alulola ia suela wala. Now, e maua le awala e deny ya enjoyment of privileges. Walu mea is a kamalo from the military. Bo o se kamalo e faisa ko olua, and the majority of those men actually e failako ko olua. Awalu lo cousin nga. Wa fe fela yai ma faaleanga ai lo kangaka. That's correct. O ki ngā olmako ainga e esele ka mai. A e kumule alofa a e yaile le nganga ka wivi. Le se nganga e le fa vai. Koe ele ku I se mea valea. Koe ele ku foi. Ingi mea e awha nge. E whaaleanga ai. I whanga wiki. A le mea lau o vai aku le ainga. O le au Baker family. My cousin's family. Awha tia Baker. And hopi Baker. O lua. Ngā a se oli. Lawa le mea lai whaakari mai o lua. Ma ko ainga. O ko ainga e maka I whale. I ele mai o maka I whale. O le maka I whanga wiki. Koe ele mai lea o le whange o le muni lua. Wa uma ngā lua whao ngā inga. Le mako a inga e meise lava leo makua. E koke apalai ai o meo winga maka ngā la. E mai I le angungu mauli. Ma le angungu pālangi. So o lua. Wa lewa kaunga lua ngā awaku le whaasalanga o le oki. I ko ainga. Langa o ko ainga lea ngā whainga ai lo kangaka. Mai le mea maka ngā whai ele leo. Ai lau ke moe. Makua maka o kia lava mea maka ngā la. Le kaupulea. Ai ke lua whea ngai le leia. Ai ke lua malamalama le lei lava. I le o langa o wo o mai ai. That's correct. Ngō kupunga mai ai. Rengi winga whapela maka ngā. O maa uli la. Wa lewa ngā kakau. Ngā whai yeisa whakakau e o kou. That's correct. Whakong la kou. I le ako wā ma me ku wai. That's correct. A le alako lea whaile me walea iai. Pe alu whaile whakongunga. E walea whakongunga la. Se wa aiwa. Wa whakongu e kangaka. Le kaupulea. Ia kangaka. Yele ai ngā kupu. E yele pule anga. E sau mai I le crown. That's correct. I am one of them. My family is like that. We're heads. We're crown heads. We're not below that. A mea lau whai e oko. Galo ai wako ko whalengi ngā. So kanga lea ole. Mā ngai ia ole. Le maua le kupe ma le mea I whawhinge. Pa o moku au le lei. E le ai se unga le lei. E le ai foi se aki ngā e le lei. Mo ko ainga, mo ko whanga wiki. Na whapea. You turn around the palangi. Remember, e pule lava palangi. Ya. Ila ko kula fongo. Mana ko me fai ile aku ngai. A al mela o kupu. Wa whao ngā. E ka ngaka pae. Palangi. E awha mauli. And even the mauli. E ka ngaka. Ka kou. Ka ngaka kerisiango. Ka ngaka. Nga punga mai. That's right. Mako mai ila kung ungay malmangaku. Oh, yeah. You know. Su ese aki nga ilay. Su ese lumanga ilay. Alam mo lang kupu. Nga le pa usasay. Nga le koso kenya lava. Nga le fa aleanga lava. O kinga. Ele ifayang iko olua. Kwele ifayang Kalau ai ngusila. Onga ole. Ole lako wa. Way of life. Wa fa ingai le ainga. Me le lei umang fai siok kama. Koluang makai. Fa penga mga ia nga respect. E afatia beka ma hopi beka. Ma de beka family. Nei, ngola pisi. Aku waku. Langa fa wo me I palangi. Ele lava. Fai ayo paling e pupoko. Pa ele anga lako poko. Elongi poko. Mai le lii. Molu poko la. E manipulate. E control la oko. Nga. La. La pule mai yele o mauri. I kangaka. E fai lako fai aima. Fai lako qualifications. O lana leo nga. Bea fai o nga wako. Or go on the side. We'll go encourage your kanka mauri. But kanaka yung fa'alianga inga your reputations or kanaka like me. That's great. And the rest of my family. Ele ai se ko wanga ngalofa. Ang ai se ko wanga ngafapea. You know, ape akako wo fe so angila usola. Ape aku waku ai seling. Even if she committed, you know, zoophilia, bestiality, those sins way back, that's great. But at the end of the day, ole li'i nga faya ole li'i foi ko mai ya uma famuyanga la ko kele mawa famuyanga ko ke you don't deserve any of the blessings that I got. That's great. But ole problema lea. Minau kupageng usila. Wale I say respect. Wale I lava se afangay. I may say lava ya kamaloloa. Ilako ko olua. Wasili ako nga respect ya kamaloloa. Fai lako ko olua malako ainga. Ya fa finge pa umuku pa usasay. Lola ko lava. Fa finge nga. Nga fa ipo yai. Be nga fangao may la ko fangao. So, and this is what happens with the KKK. We've got pure malo sila vakanga nga e kula ko authority on the tail. Their authority comes from the tails. That's great. Those are the people that are running this country now. Sadly. It's like like myself. That's great. And the rest of I can understand why my siblings had to go to Australia. They couldn't prosper here. They couldn't be protected either. Because there's so many sick people in pedophilia and erythromania, and they were only interested in taking advantage of them. That's great. And possibly even controlling them. This country is not big enough for everybody to be, you know, to prosper. That's great. There's got to be a give and take. There's got to be a compromise. Problem is there is no more compromising when it comes to the selfish treaty people. Their rights under the treaty. You guys are so selfish that I can't wait to leave your country because you are all you've got a compulsive obsession. You dare take from me, steal from me, and go counterfeit, duplicate my ideas. You dare. Your people are not that worthy. Your people are not royals. That's correct. Not royalty. I mean, His Majesty King Charles III knows. They didn't come here because supposedly that I was going to turn into one of their whores by some miraculous, that's correct, bullying tactic or some kind of strategy. That's correct. No. They came here because they knew who I was. And what they were interested in was that they wanted to steal all the blessings that I had earned the right way. Now, if that's the attitude of your people and the government of New Zealand, I'm afraid this country is not big enough for me anymore. I've got every right to leave. That's correct. But I don't know why your people would want to, like even my rallies would want to stop me from leaving. Why would you want to do that? What's wrong with you people? You people sound like you're under some sort of spell or some kind of witchcraft or hypnosis. That's correct. Where you got an obsession and you've become so compulsive, obsession to control people and deny their privileges. You ain't got no right to do this. What's going on? That's correct. It's because you've had sex outside the marriage arrangement. That's a problem. You got too greedy. So is there a doctor in the house that's going to help you with that greed and that insatiable, ferocious sexual appetite that you're wanting other people to give you to satisfy? This is not the way to go. People of Aotearoa, you need to stop, stealing, stalking, spying, perverting, taking advantage. You need to stop having sex with back in this country to take advantage of people like me. That's correct. You need to go and use your own people. Let alone the very people that are in the organization. Now you don't want to use people that are in the members and the associates. You prefer to take advantage of foreigners. You need to stop this. This could turn really ugly. And it could turn into war. That's correct. But like I said, your people in this country, everybody else, deserve exactly what they get. That's correct. Served you all right. That's correct. Thinking you can, steal my stuff and deny me a donation, whoopee-doo. So what next you going to deny from me? My right to wear my so-called undergarments? My right to wear a hat like this, in this way? You people are incredible. The audacity you got, that's correct. If it wasn't for the white man, you people would still be running around in grass skirts, that's correct. And still eating the old way, still doing things. They're still doing things. Despite all the advancement, the technologies, what the Pākehā tries really hard, that's correct. To give your people, the people of Aotearoa, trying to raise their standards, they still go back to the disgusting thing. They still go back to the sex. At the end of the day, that's correct. I'll tell you right now, majority of your people out there that are part of criminal organizations, I bet you their cupboards are full of porn movies, porn videos, and even that police intelligence unit. I bet you it's packed, loaded with porn videos that they have themselves videoed and created in their own homes. This is what I've discovered with the Treaty Partnership, that's correct, and all those criminal organizations. That you can have sex with children. If you're sick, if you got that kind of addiction or that kind of affinity, or fetish, no problem. Criminal organizations can satisfy it. You want sex with 3 women and a man? No problem. We can give you. We can satisfy you. That's great. Oh, so you want to see a daughter and a father having sex? You want to watch that? No problem. They got that. They can provide that. You just pay us the money. That's correct. Whatever you want, sexual, anything to do with sex, the criminal organization can satisfy, and that unit can give it to you. You just remember to pay your money. That's correct. And they can satisfy. So I'm thinking, is this what you call respect? So is that why the criminals are respected more, because they're having sex with the elites? And they're having sex to deny people like me and my family our full privileges and even our rights to have somebody arrested? I mean, what do you call that? They're at the police station. For whose benefit was that for? Why do you need to go there? You know what? I got to mention this name because this is probably the troublemaker that all these years have been pulling the strings behind me. And I had no idea. And this person was Atua Dr. Tavi Talipine. Buddy, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I think you're sick with erotomania. And possibly even with pedophilia. And possibly even with incest. Because you've been stalking this victim in the last, I think 2090s. I had no idea. Since 96, I had no idea. And it looks like there is something terribly wrong with married men in this country. Like take, for example, that man that I've never had anything to do with all these years. And yet it looks like he's been using these criminal organizations and even these criminals inside this building, and even the police commissioner, the elites, to stalk the hell out of me, to study me, to know what I'm saying in private. Why do you need to know that for? You got a wife and children. Why don't you, focus your energy on that? I mean, I would say the same thing to my rallies. Why did you need to know what I was doing in private? Or what even I was saying? How are you going to use that information? A lot of our personal informations are being misused by the so-called apartheid treaty people in this country to harm us, especially via the police intelligence unit. This is what I've discovered about you people. So you're not only good, and I mean really good, at satisfying the Bacchus, sexual appetite, but you're now really good at studying people and listening into and monitoring their so-called, what they're saying. So why are the English Bacchus teaching you these sort of harmful tactics? Why are we being spied? We lived in your country, but why are you behaving in a suspicious, seditious way? What for? Why you've become so like a stranger? That's correct. Do you know that I can't even trust any podcast now? Whether it be Salvation Army, I've had to stop going there. That's correct. Because I suddenly realized there is a dictatorship. They probably would have run the police intelligence unit or the elites. So these criminals are now using the elites even. The ministers who run this country to dictate, to apply their dictatorships. You know what? That's not the right thing to do. But you got no right to do this. You're crazy. You people are crazy, but it's all about sex. Like I said. If Youth Hefner was still alive, you'd probably have a Playboy mansion here. For sure. You got porn videos everywhere. And it's so sad for me to look at the situation. How those children are being raised. They are already sex toys and sex addicts. The way that they've been taught is correct. It's all geared to sex. Drug addiction. Your people need to get some help, seriously. But you need to leave people alone. Your people are sick, all right? I don't know how. I don't even understand how the poor women and children have no future. There's no hope other than just sex. They live only and breathe for sex. That's correct. It's like, oh my God, I don't even want to look at those kind of animals. I mean, the dogs, they got a right to bark and behave like animals, but when I look at those, it's like, oh shit, this must be worse than the Planet of the Apes. These kind of evil, this greed. New Zealand, especially the government of New Zealand, you need to clean up your act. You need to stop focusing on what's going on overseas. Focus on what's going on here. There is a lot that needs to be cleaned up. That's correct. I mean, it's crazy. You can't just let people like that walk all over other people. That's correct. And break all the laws and get away with it. This is not the way to run a country. You stop talking about your treaty, blah, 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 blah. That's correct. There's more important issues. And it's just sad what I'm seeing. That's correct. Samoans, I hope you continue to be faithful to Jesus and God and continue to live, the Christian way of life, of doing things. That's correct. But it'll be hard going when you got the police intelligence unit and you got the police commissioner behaving like punks and thugs. That's correct. Where they are not respecting the women's rights anymore. It's like it's non-existent. The women don't have any rights. The children don't have any rights. Where is the children commissioner? That's correct. Let alone the women. I'm not sure. That's correct. It's like they do everything pretentiously. It's lies. They're all lies. That's correct. You think my preaching is lying? Man, hell, just take a look. And how they're living. That's correct. Can you not see there's something wrong with your people? Let alone the government of New Zealand? Oh my God. Mr. Tom Heaviland or Mr. Mountaintop, are you still there? Tommy the Tank Engine? Are you just like them? Are you just going to let them do that? That's correct. Oh, please don't. There must have been a reason why, that's right, you came into my kingdom by accident. Mr. Snowman number 2, is there any chance that I'm going to get some help from you? That's correct. Mr. Snowman number 2, looking at your picture, that's correct. Let me show them all. There is the picture of Mr. Snowman number 2, where he's mighty fine. He looks healthy, all right. He looks very good and handsome, and he's got all his, faculties and strength and mightiness. That's great. Oh, he looks superior, all right. I'll give it to him. Those muscles, those are years. They took years of hard work. That's great. Now, of course, nobody's gotten in the way of his progress of going to the gym. That's great every day. Nobody's stalking Mr. Snowman number 2. But I tell you what, New Zealand, you won't like what I'm going to say. Out of this whole country, that includes even my brother, up there, who is a constable at the Burupara, the little township of Burupara, and that includes even my second sister. I've had to disown from both of them. They don't want to talk to me, probably because of the so-called, bestiality. Whoopie-doo. Since way back in my days. But I'm a reborn natural bastard. That's correct. I tell you right, nobody, not even my siblings, in this entire country, from north down all the way down to Invercargill and Goa in the South Island, is in agreement or in alignment with my heart condition, especially my Crystal Kingdom Church TV Limited. Nobody in this country. And the funniest thing is, there's a holy altar. And it's got Aotearoa New Zealand on it. Yeah, but nobody in this country is in alignment, or if yeah, that's the sad thing. That's great. Who is that? From Australia. This gentleman here. Bau lava lea. Or kangaka. Or kamaloa. Or le athlete. That's great. If ngai malo kangaka. Meaning, That's correct. Police commissioner stop in ele whengai. Lo kuangange ele whengai. Lo uso no lua ele whengai. Ngaka umale kong I mkwa le whengai lava. Kuwaku le kua lo kama. Le kua whawhingi lo kama la o hopi baker malon ko lua and your cousin mkwa le whengai lava. Onga ole incest, onga ole maka I whale, ole maila maka I whale. Ole maila. Ma the connection la ole ainga leo peka I le criminal organization lea. Le mu, lea, le lang mu. Ga kupu al whala vlave. I lo kangaka. Sa le kaunga kupu le whala vlave lea. Langa e leanga kangaka pala langi, a racist, ma kangaka mauli, a racist. Especially the ones that run the police station and the police force. Right. E se awa ko whaamaka ngai lo kangaka, that's correct. E se a meo ko whao ngai, meo kangaka, pahoka, ngā mo kangaka criminals. E whawhea ngai I lo kangaka. Ngai ko ke leo le leia, lo u kangaka. Male ngā punga mai ai mako ainga. A ale mea leo ko whaia, maka o kia lava. Loa I pao sa side ko aku nguu. Ko e pao muku ko aku nguu. And that includes kangaka ia running al ko malo. Longo winga, masalo e pule ia kamalo loa from the military. E pule le military community I kongu I kongu e fai I kongu la kongu ngai I le elite, especially the police intelligence unit. New Zealand. You know what? I didn't go to university so that I could become your so-called, favorite thing to study and favorite be a person to spy on and eavesdrop and harm me with your so-called police intelligence unit. I didn't go to university for that reason. Seriously. La me wafia pule mai ka malo ai faile ko olua. O atoa Dr. Tavi Talipine lai o I kai mua I Samoa. I lo kangaka ngai ma o mele fai ko kong ola o YouTube channel. O le ameo o ko fai ele le ami o le anga lea o sila. I say wo ko behave that way. That's correct. Mukwa maka o kia lava. Le ko wanga sala, o ko soli kula fongo le fai kong I. Ko meva lea I fai I. Wa leo ko malo nga. Fa kingo nga. Mukwa fa kupu fa lava ko malo. I miss lava. Kangaka o le komisinga o leo. That's correct. Ma le leo organization. Wa maka o kia lava. Lo winga. The police force, when it comes to sex, the majority of those police officers are married. But it looks like in the last 42 years, when the police officers, that are associates, by the way, to criminal organizations in this country, when they want sex from the women of the criminal organizations, and even any woman in the community, they go and do the set-up thing. They go and set them up, this career. Because you've studied them, you've accessed their addresses, you've accessed people's address in this country by unlawful entries and home invasions, and you install hidden devices, recording devices, you now have the power to abuse and misuse as a police officer, and even as a police commissioner, and even as any official in the system. Where if you want sex from a particular person, you know how to get sex from that person. You will either drug them and then enter their home while they're asleep and have sex with them. Now, is this what New Zealand, lawmaking lawmakers have become? Is this what your so-called, that's great, your justice system has become? New Zealand, you deserve the death penalty. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. Because the Germans, they do not accept any of the stuff that you've been doing. Especially that kind of thing. Just because we were born in the islands, that's great. And just because we are Christians, don't mean yet you can take advantage of our Lord. And the so-called, the principle of, forgive. How can you do that? How dare, that's correct, that you people think you can commit your crimes and then you want us to apply a Christian principle to forgive You know what? It doesn't work that way. You commit a crime, you do your time. That's correct. That's how it should be. Ain't nothing to do with my Lord and his scriptures and his teachings. That's correct. You know who we should be forgiving? It is our own brothers and sisters that might have done something to hurt us. But it must not amount to a crime, because otherwise the 10 Commandments, don't exist. So why do the 10 Commandments exist? It's because there were some very serious conducts, that our Lord and God did not want the Christians, his people, to engage in. And if they broke the commandments, they were stoned back in their days. That's correct. So the way I see it, please don't you dare take advantage of the forgiveness principle, because we are supposed to only forgive other Christians, other brothers and sisters in the faith, not criminals, not evildoers that commit a sexual crime, that are serial rapists. That's correct, or other serious crimes that they ought to be arrested and processed. Now, you see what happened when you didn't arrest the police officers. That's correct. Look at the fucking damage. Are you prepared to die for all those harms? Are you prepared to fucking rot in jailbird for that list of harms that you dished out? And it was all coming from the police officer, the serial rapists that you, by the way, let off the hook. You ate it and fucking abetted their behaviors. What makes you think that I could be a whore to a police force? Let out your police commissioner. Is that your rubbish attitude towards qualified women in this country? And especially women that have been, abiding by your laws, by the way, all these years. You got the nerve. Take it back. And go to jail. If you commit a crime, go to fucking jail, otherwise we'll kill you. If you don't fucking get into the police car, that's correct, or go down to the fucking police station and admit and make a fucking statement, we will kill you as a Knights Templar. If you don't, take responsibility and go to fucking jailbird like you ought to be. You ought to do, because it's the right thing to do. Got the audacity, all right? Piece of trash everywhere. The sewage pipe, that's correct. Right, I think I've said enough. Got any other lava? Do you want to say any more? No. He has had enough. You sickos. Psychos. No, it's not photosynthesis. My God. Look at what the cat and the dog dragged in. That's great. You know what? Your people better raise your standards. You better behave yourself. This country is going down the tubes. That's exactly what the angels are saying. Wake up, New Zealand. Wake up. That's correct. Don't wake up so you can, commit sex crimes. Wake up. And do something about this. This mess. This disgusting mess. Don't use us to promote Your people, because their reputation was so fucking filthy and clean, that my Lord said, you know what? My hands are clean. I'm not, holy cow, that's great. I'm coming down for the second time, so I can clean all of that. But I'm coming back for those that are worthy for the resurrection, for the hope of the resurrection. I am not coming down so that I can be taken advantage of, or so that I can be mocked and laughed at. That's correct. After I'd made a sacrifice, a huge one. Holy cow! There won't be any cows left at the rate they're going. There won't be any sheep. That's correct. Right. Thank you so much to all the pastors for your patience and your understanding. I know that my type of preaching is radical, but it's not radical enough to qualify as a white supremacist type of preaching. But it satisfies my Lord, and I'm doing the will of my Lord and God and Jesus, and specifically through the angels and the Holy Spirit. Because when I leave this country, I don't ever want to have to come back and try to clean up anybody else's mess, let alone pick up after anybody. Right. They should be able to pick up themselves. That's correct. They should be able to do that, tidy themselves up. That's correct. Nobody's going to wipe their asses for them. That's correct. Let alone brush their teeth and comb their hairs. Let alone remind them. That's correct. To do right instead of evil. That's a hard one. Right, in the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit, amen. In the name of Christ, around Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. And of course, my precious little munchkin, special lots, sorry lots, may Queens and around bless you all 10,000 times and more. See you according to heart conditions. And don't forget, no sex with pets, that's correct. And no sex with adults, amen. Any adult trying to touch you, you either bite them or you call the police. Right. Auf Wiedersehen. Vertel aber. Ile. Afine. Samoan community. For lending your ears. Just, to listen to what Guy needs to say. In the language, the Samoan language, of course. I prefer to use the English language, so I'm always going to use the English language. That's why I'm going to America. That's correct. But I tell you what, you're going to laugh when I get to America and I start preaching in German. You're going to be amazed. A little on French. That's correct. That's right. Bonjour. Madame. That's correct. Auf Wiedersehen. So far so for Manuel Po. Manuel Tayao. Good morning, everyone. Bye-bye.